What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode in my Football Manager save. This is episode number 91. And today we're returning with two massive games with Borussia Dortmund as you take on the 19 times in a row Bundesliga champions FC Bayern in our first klassiker meeting in the league this season, and they're away to Dragao against Porto in the Champions League. Before we get to the games though, shout out Dortmund getting on off camera. And of course, in the last episode, you saw our 2-0 win over Villarreal in the Champions League, and then the big 4-1 win in the Revier derby against Schalke at the Veltins Arena. I'd love to say the unbeaten start to the season continued, but unfortunately it did not. Yeah, really poor end with two losses in our 4 games off camera, beginning with a second round knockout in the dfb-pokal for the second year in a row away from home against Mönchengladbach on penalties where Moukoko, what a tough return he's had to Borussia Dortmund. We spent the big bucks on him, and currently he's not really giving us an ROI. Yet missed our penalty in the shootout, and Mönchengladbach were 100% imperfect as they made it through to the third round, and we were knocked out in the second round for the second year in a row. But we did respond, and what's that old saying? How do you make amends with actions, not words? Moukoko bagged a brace in the following game back home, and both goals kind of carbon copies as well in our 2-0 win against FC Cologne. Saleh Ozcan, the vice captain, playing 2 balls over the top. Moukoko latching onto both and finishing both as well in a 2-0 win. Following that though, massive defeat, probably my worst loss as Dortmund manager so far, I'd say. We were at home to Barcelona, and we just got absolutely torn apart by the Catalan Giants. The first goal was awful. Gregor Kobel reminded me of David De Gea, really. I mean, awful pass as Seaman gets it back, and whilst Creswell tried to provide the heroics, couldn't deny the second attempt turned in. Koopmeiners then from the spot, and then later on in the game, Matheus Nunes got one, as did a Seaman bag in his brace in a 4-0 loss. Absolutely torn apart at home in our backyard by Barcelona. Yeah, welcome back to the big time, Borussia Dortmund. Really tough loss there. But once again, how do you respond? Actions, not words. Following game away at the Weserstadion against Werder Bremen, won by 6-0. I think my biggest win in the Bundesliga since joining Dortmund so far. We scored 3 in the first half and 3 in the second. Anthony Company by the brace, and Romero got one in the first half. And then in the second half, Yusufa Moukoko got on the score sheet once again. Romero got his brace. And then late on in the game, Jordan Norton. I don't know if you remember this guy, but I picked him up at the start of last season, left him out on loan in Australia. Then he came back, and he's a young Australian who we picked up. And he made his debut and scored his first goal for Dortmund as well with 4 minutes to go. He's got a mohawk, by the way. How cool is that? Anyway, won the game 6-0. Norton's first goal for the club in a really big victory away at the Weserstadion. So, we remain undefeated in the league with 1 draw and 10 wins, but unfortunately, it's still not enough for us to be top. Bayern are still top and still perfect. 11 wins in 11, only 2 goals conceded. They have absolutely dominated. And whilst it does look as though it will be a 2-horse race for the title this year, the real question is, how long can we stay on Bayern Munich's coattails? They are still perfect, and if they win our game against us today, then they'll go 5 clear as well. What a ridiculous team. Seriously, just unstoppable. Quite literally. Yep, so far our record against Bayern in the Bundesliga is played 2, lost 2. Though, of course, we will have some confidence knowing that we beat them in the Super Cup at the start of the season. So, you never know. We've won every single game at home this season in the league. Our only slip-up, if you can call it a slip-up, was the 2-2 draw against Bayer Leverkusen away on the opening day of the season. I think we could do it. I think we could possibly do it. We got our first win against Bayern here in the Bundesliga since joining Dortmund. Heading to the game right now, everyone is fit. Samuel Lukonga went down with a tight hamstring, at least pulled hamstring, at the start of the month. But he's back on the bench for this game here, and this will be our team. Kobel is in goal. The back four is Nets, the Dragon, Creswell and Striddy with Cruiser and Ozcan, the DM duo. Company's on the left, Romero's on the right, and Reina does support Moukoko. I'm going with Yusufa. He scored the winner against Bayern in the Super Cup. He's got 8 goals in 11 games, to be fair. He's just been a little bit streaky for us this season, but he's already got a goal against Bayern for us this season since joining. Hopefully he can fire us in the game winner today. On the bench you got Olszewski, Schlotterbeck, Mane, Watjen, Samuel Lukonga, Brahim Diaz, Wimmer, Tiel and Araujo as well. First of 2, it's the klassiker against Bayern Munich, where we must avoid defeat, even too early on in the season, to stay in the title race. Come on, Dortmund. Yeah, it really is amazing how even so early on into the season, only a third of the way through, you'd have to say if we lose this game here, it's basically Bayern's title again. I mean, they really are that dominant. That would be 12 wins in a row. This is, theoretically, based on how the league has started, probably the toughest game they've got to play so far. Yeah, we literally cannot afford to lose this game. A draw is not a terrible result, but a loss is disastrous. Joshua Kimmich has the first chance for Bayern from this dead ball situation. Whips in a free kick, which is headed away, but there's Jamal Musiala finding De Jong. Matthias de Ligt goes for goal, and the centre half puts it just wide the post. Still 0-0 as the Dutch defender almost pulled off a worldie. 28 minutes in, and still tied at 0-0. We seem to have had the better start statistically, but in terms of highlights, it's currently Bayern who have made the brighter beginning. Here is Musiala sending it long to Alphonso Davies, and two of the Bayern OGs linking up here as the Canadian gets around his man and finds Frenkie. Back to the lit. He's got to be careful with Moukoko lurking, and he was, to be fair, as Davies goes for goal and Cabell makes a very simple save. You know what? Would I take a point? I mean, probably. It'll keep us 2 points from Bayern. It'll end their 100% start. But let's be honest here, we're not going to win at the Allianz. And are Bayern going to slip up between now and the end of this season against anyone else other than us? Probably not. So it's a big half-time decision for me here. Do I stick or twist? Do I hold on to the 0-0, keep things as they are? Or do we push bodies forward and go for a win? I really don't know. Free kick, Bayern, Kimmich, floats one over the bar, and that's okay. We're restricting them to long-range shots. They haven't been inside once, so at the moment this is fine. I trust Cabell from range, so right now I'm okay with this. If they can't break us down, they've got to shoot from range. I doubt Gregor's going to be beaten from a long-range screamer, and right now I would take this point against the 100% Bayern Munich team. Frenkie de Jong looking for space. Marelli, the young Italian fullback Nugent, all the way back towards Joshua Kimmich as Bayern push and press and look for a winning goal. Here's Alphonso Davies trying to get around Anthony Company. He does. Whips one in. There's Musiala. O'Reilly on the edge. Oh, what a goal. First goal for a young Italian Nugent for Bayern, and it's an absolute beauty. Bayern have not been inside for a clear-cut chance all game long, and the one time they get a slight opening from 18 yards, it's bent into the top corner from that young fullback with 9 long shots. It's just not been a great game from us out there, but considering Bayern are 100%, what are we expecting? Free kick for Dortmund, and that's, I tell you what, not too far there from Lucas Net from finding the leveller. Clips the bar. We got 13 minutes to find a leveller, but I really do feel as though it's going to be another goal. It'll probably be Bayern, and it almost was there. Still 1-0. We got to find a leveller. Our title hopes depend on it. Play the highest tempo possible. Run at defence. We need to pass into space while use Moukoko's pace if we can, and that will do it just for now. Gonna really go for this as well. Go 4-2-4 here. I will bring Diaz back and have him as a roaming playmaker, whereas Cruz can now sit back as an anchor man. I'm going to take off the vice captain and bring on Enrique Araujo, but I don't know if we're going to be able to get a late chance to find a late leveller. Bayern Munich are just too dominant, man. Just too dominant. 20 league titles in a row it's going to be this season. I don't know what it's going to take for us to be able to battle with them, but they are just that good. That's yours, Filippo. Well done, mate. 2.5 minutes to go as we're still down by 1, and as Net sends it over the top, here's Yusufa Moukoko. Across, Araujo shot blocked and cleared away. Our only real chance of the game, and it's a brilliant goal-saving block as Diaz's shot is deflected, and Diogo Costa says, I'll take that one, thank you very much. Our only real chance of the game, and a big goal-saving block ensures Bayern will get a big 3 points at the Signal Iduna Park and take a massive giant step towards their goal of 20 league titles in a row and a 100% season. 12 wins from 12. That's their toughest game of the season, 1. I don't know how we're ever going to be able to dethrone them. They are just too good. Oh, man, I don't know. The only goal they scored was a A beautiful effort from 18 yards out. I mean, we didn't really, concede any clear-cut chances in the entire game. We did a great job of keeping them at bay for the most part. There's nothing you can really do about a strike like that. I don't know. Only 2 goals conceded in 12. Second highest scorers only behind us. 12 wins into. I mean, I don't know how we can ever dethrone them. I said before, I feel like we need Nagelsmann to piss off, and he's still got another 3 years on his contract, and he's totally fine being here. He wants to leave a legacy at Bayern. He's already done it, but I don't know. I think because there are quite a few senior players there, if they don't get replaced, then maybe, just maybe, in like 2 or 3 years, if they don't replace them well, we could possibly battle. I mean, Frankie's 34, De Ligt's 32, Upamecano's 33, Costa's 32, Kimmich is 36, Davis is 31. So there are a few senior players here that if they don't replace, especially in the back line, we might be able to battle. But I knew joining Dortmund, we weren't going to be able to battle Bayern in the first year. But even after all the money we spent, even in Season 2, we're still a level below them. I think it's going to take, again, like another 2, 3, maybe even 4 years before we can actually really consider the fact we might be able to dethrone them. Even after this amazing start, we're still a level below. That's just how good they are. Oof. And that's our first proper injury of the season for one of our starters, Ozcan, out for 3 to 4 weeks. When it rains, it pours. 3 losses in 5. And now the vice-captain going down at a key moment of the season as well. In 4 days' time, it's a birthday for yours truly, but also for Lance Shooter as well. I think it's almost time. It's almost time for his debut. I'm buzzing, man. I literally can't wait. So, second game of today's episode, and you know what? I think I'm going to play the Hamburg game, because I really want to give Lance Shooter his debut today. So I'm going to do it on camera. Lance Shooter's going to make his debut. If I can register him, I think I can. So, yeah, directly after this game, I'll move into the senior team, because there's an under-19s game on this Saturday here. And if I'm able to, I'll register him at midnight, put him in the squad, and give him his debut. Anyway, it's Porto away at the Dragao for the following game. On the back of loss to Barca, we've now dropped out of the automatic promotion place. What's it called? The automatic qualification places in the top 8 in the Champions League phase. So we need to win this game here and get back into the top 8. So Reyna's going to get a rest tonight because I said I'd rest him. Ozcan, of course, has just gone down. Cruiser carrying a knock on the back of the loss to Bayern, and this will be our team. Just a 9 subs out of 12, but I think we'll be alright. Cabell is in goal. At the back 4 is now Nets, Schlotterbeck, Creswell, and Mane at right back. Samuel Lokonga and Watja make up a obscure DMGO, with Vimmer on the left, Romero on the right, and Brahim Diaz supporting Araujo, as with a few rests tonight for lads on the bench, including Olszewski, the Dragon, Striddy, Papaz, Company, Diao, Mohamed. Sorry, I just need to fix that. There we go. Papaz, Diao, Mohamed, Company, TL, and Mukoko as well. Second game, it's Porto away at Dragao. Need to win this game here to get back in the top 8. Come on, Borussia Dortmund. Yeah, 3 defeats in 5 for Dortmund. A little bit of a shaky patch here. I mean, I say this all the time, but even the most elite clubs are going to have poor patches of form at some point during a season. You can't be 100% all year long. Well, unless your name is Bayern Munich. But even so, I guess to be fair, the reason why I'm not going to react too strongly is because when you look at the 3 losses, a penalty shootout defeat, and Barca and Bayern. I mean, you can't really be too critical, can you, on what is a young Dortmund team and only my second year in charge. Yeah, it's not great, don't get me wrong, but let's be honest there. Considering the quality of those teams there, I'm not going to be too disappointed. I will be if we don't get back to winning ways in this one here, though. And the first highlight's falling to Porto, and they've taken the lead. Thiago Thomas drills one in, and the hosts take the early lead. Right then, Dortmund, what are we made of? Come on, boys, seriously. I spent big in the summer. I added more quality and depth. We've got to do better than this. Araujo with a lovely ball through to Romero down the right. He's back in the middle on Rique as Romero takes it around his man. Great run. And puts it just over the bar. Still down by a goal. And at half time, I'm going to get a little bit aggressive here. I always say, I don't mind losing. I don't mind losing at all. But you've got to at least put a bit of effort out there. So far, we haven't really been on it at all, with Porto still hold a slender 1-goal lead. Here's Luca Netz into the middle, cut out by Sangare, and Porto shall clear. No problem with losing a game whatsoever. When we haven't been at it, we haven't been on it, That just isn't good enough. Put the effort in. That's the bare minimum I ask of any team. It's the bare minimum I ask of myself. Contreras into Galeno. Over the top. Thiago Thomas onside to... It will go to VAR. Was he on? I think he was. And I think Porto will have a 2-goal lead at the break. This is a worrying time for Borussia Dortmund. Is this the first time I've thrown a water bottle since joining Dortmund? I don't think so. Not just yet, but I will thrash my arms in an aggressive manner and say, what was that? Get your acts together and start playing football. And of course, I need to change things as well. So tactically, what we're going to do is we're going to now play at a higher tempo. We're going to be a bit more direct in our play. We're going to run at defence, be more expressive. And I think we just got to get some shots on goal as well. Play a little bit narrower and be a little bit more direct as well. I've got Mukoko on the bench. Company's on the bench as well. I think I'm going to go ahead and take off Romero, who has struggled a little bit to start the season off, and bring on Anthony Company. And that'll do it just for now. Second half to begin, down by 2. Just got to get some shots on goal. Test the keeper, do something. Corner, Dortmund, 13 minutes after the restart. As Luca floats one in, the keeper does just about enough, but as Araujo wins it back, the chance to remain alive. Here's Samuel Lokonga with a give and go to Enrique, and it squirms in at the near post. Enrique says, Gaffer, I hear ya. I've been the top scorer this year, and this is why you're keeping Yusufa on the bench and starting me. Dortmund back in the game, and that's what I wanted to see. Finally testing that goalkeeper, but he didn't deal with the corner very well. And at the near post, the shot squirms through his body and into the bottom corner. 2-1, back in the game. Right, encourage. That's more like it, boys. That's more like it. Dortmund back in the game, but we need another one to level it. I think I might take off that shoot on sight instruction now. We tested the goalkeeper, that's what I wanted. And now we look for some better clear-cut chances. 18 minutes to find a leveller. Throw, Dortmund. Samuel Lokonga receives it from nets and finds Filippo Mane. Here's Kiel Watjen, who bends one off the crossbar, and Porto get it away. Better. Much, much better from Dortmund. Like I said, I don't mind losing, but put some fucking effort in there. Come on. Well, it looks as though we're going to lose, but do you know what? Better, much better. I said before, I don't mind a loss, but it's a much better second half display. And that's what I'll say to the boys. I'm proud of your efforts. That's better. Much better. You know what? Like, to me, losing is fine. Like I do not mind losing at all. I have no issue if you get beaten. I have no issue if you fail. I have no issue if you come up short. What I do have an issue with is not putting in the grind. That, to me, is what's unacceptable. It's a loss. It's back-to-back defeats in the Champions League. We dropped to 12th in the league phase now. But we're only behind Leipzig and the Red Devils by a point. So I'm not too concerned. There's still plenty of games to go here. And admittedly, this is poor. 3 defeats in 4 and 4 defeats in 6. But if we can get back to winning ways here and go on a good run between now and the winter break, that's what we'll need to keep pace with Bayern Munich and try and get back in the top 8. I'm not too concerned. And that's what I'm going to say to the boys here. Look, I know it's not been easy recently, but we're good enough to turn things around as long as we stay focused and remain positive. I'm not criticising you, Yusufa. I'm not criticising you. What? I'm not... Oh, I can't believe it. I've only been here 18 months. I've already lost the dressing room. Do you know what? We need fresh blood. We need fresh blood. Land shooter, you're moving up, son. You're moving on up. Get yourself in the senior team, young man. You're about to make your debut. We need some fresh blood, and Angelo is going to provide it. So it turns out I can't register land shooter outside of the window, which is a bit of a shame. It's kind of annoying because like here it seems like I can, you know, but I can't confirm the selection. So I don't know when the register window is. But yeah, that's annoying. So no debut for land shooter, unfortunately, but I will play this game regardless because we need to respond here. It's gonna quickly do my lineup and then we'll crack on with the third and final game today. Oh, man, toughest patch since joining Dortmund, I would say, because I don't really count the end of season collapse last year because we knew the title was gone anyway. But we got to respond here. 4 defeats in 6, 3 losses in 4, and now we take on Hamburg away at the Volkspark Stadion. 5 points behind Bayern, who are probably going to go even further clear if we don't win today. So heading into the game, I'm going to make not one change. I've just made that change. No, thank you, Colo Torre. I'll stick to the tactics, shall I? Which is never a good idea. I've made a few changes, to the tactics. We're going to play a much higher tempo, or the highest tempo possible, I should say. We're going to be a little bit more narrower in our play, try and be a bit more of a direct threat with our inside forwards being even more central. In transition, we've got to get that ball straight out of the goalkeeper's hands and out of possession as well. We're going to get stuck in as well. Let them know we are here. So, heading into the game, no land shooter, unfortunately. Can't be registered for this one, but this will be our team. Cabell's in goal, back for his Nets, the Dragon, Creswell and Strilly with Cruiser and Mane, the ball-winning midfielder today. Company's on the left, Romero's on the right, and Reina does support Yusufa. On the bench, you've got Olszewski, Schlotterbeck, Kiel, Samuel Lakonga, Pat, Diao, Diaz, TL, and Araujo as well. Third and final game for sure, Hamburg away at the Volkspark Stadion. If we don't win this game, just put the engraving on the trophy already. It'll be Bayern's Bundesliga again. Come on, Dortmund. Can't believe I've already lost the dressing room within a year and a half, honestly. Everyone thinking I'm the golden boy, going to end Bayern's dominance. No, best I can do is the Super Cup. Best I can do is one Super Cup, I'm afraid, as Reina's shot is beaten behind for a corner. Come on, Dortmund. Well, that's a cracking long ball, that. A cracking long ball. And Hamburg almost had the lead. The frame of the goal struck and cleared off the line as we're still tied at 0-0. Hamburg so close to going in front. They've had such a tough start to the season, only 8 points in 12 games, and they almost took, I'd say, a shock lead, but based on our form right now, maybe an expected one. Still tied at 0-0, and a point in this game will feel like a defeat. Like I said, we failed to win this game. Put the engraving on the trophy now. It's Bayern's. Romero crosses Moukoko. Slot time is 10 for the year. Dortmund take the lead. Hamburg looking for their leveler, and they've got space here. And, Mane tracking back, and for the second time, we've cleared the ball off the line. Company to Romero, flicks on Reina, and cleared away by Hamburg. This is end-to-end stuff here. Midfield, there's no such thing right now. Both teams going all out attack as we still lead by one by the skin of our teeth. Nets to Company. And here's Filippo Mane to Romero. He's got Moukoko ahead of him. And out wide is Stefano Strilly. Can they play the 1-2? Yes, they can. Here's Luca just inside the area. Floats one in. And, it's just been walked in by Anthony Company. Hamburg failed to clear. And it's 10 for our number 10. As Dortmund go 2-0 up. And this scoreline really does not reflect the pattern of play. Hamburg have done well out there. We're lucky to lead by 2. Good give and go by Stefano and Luca. But Anthony Company just walks the ball in from 2 yards out. Hamburg 2-0 down. Dortmund surely getting back to winning ways here. That's yours, Company. Well done. And now back to the Dragon as we look to close out this first half going 3 goals up, and Lord knows we could do with that because Hamburg have been threatening this afternoon. Here's Anthony Company, scored our second. Back to Luca, and nets through to Mane as Cruiser takes over. Company on the turn, gets away, lovely ball over the top. There's Romero, who should have made it 3. Off target, he's really struggled this season. I think he's only got 2 goals. He's really, really struggled as we still lead by 2, but this could be our third, and it is! Yusufa heads in, Reina's chip, and that should do it right before the break. We extend the lead to 3. It will go to VAR, but I don't think Moukoko was offside there when that ball was floated into the back post. And yep, it will indeed count. Dortmund lead by 3, and this is the response we needed. Actions, not words. We're back to winning ways. Throw, Dortmund, 15 minutes on the clock. As we're surely going to see out a much-needed win. And Yusufa was so close to his first hat-trick since re-signing for us. And his second attempt is easily caught. Still 3-0. I don't think we'll get the match ball now. But most crucially, we will return to winning ways. We'll cut the gap on Bayern to 2 points. But of course, they will have that game in hand. Actions, not words. Borussia Dortmund respond on the back of the big back-to-back losses and 3 defeats in 4 with a big 3-0 win away at the Volkspark Stadion. So I'll say to the boys here, pointing the finger, nice work everyone. That was good. Got to rebuild my trust in my players after temporarily losing the dressing room, but a big win there, and Lord knows we needed it. It could have been so different now after Hamburg made a great start to the game, but we'll end today's episode off by playing Bayern's game home to Bayern Leverkusen, see if for the first time they will drop points this season in the league, or if they'll re-extend the lead at the top of the table to, what would it be now, 5 points, I believe. Oh, Bayern! Go on, Leverkusen! They got a point, so they're still undefeated, but their 100% start has now gone. So the gap is now 3. Well done, Bayern Leverkusen, trying to get back in the title race. And you know what? Considering how dominant Bayern are, they might be going for back-to-back undefeated seasons, but at least they won't have a record 100% season. Ended by Leverkusen. Well done, boys. But that will end today's episode of the Football Manager Save, guys. So big fan of watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have, then please do drop a like. So you'll have a fantastic day. And I think we'll come back with I think maybe we'll play through the whole of December and come back with a tough double-header. Leverkusen at home and Frankfurt away as well. I think that's probably a good idea. Let's get out with some pace, play the final games of the calendar year, get through the winter break, and return in January with Leverkusen and Frankfurt as well. Have a great day, guys. Much love to you all, and I'll see you for the next episode of the Football Manager Save very soon.